All right, folks, let's check this out. Let's play some more. Let's play some more Death and Taxes in Modern. Been a pattern of 5 plus canopies in this deck for that reason, so I don't float and die in a Dark Spell to Archon for a card like Copter, which I'm also a fan of. Yeah, I'm playing a list that is just it's tried and true by one of the players that has been doing the best with this archetype lately. Yeah, this is obviously a mulligan. Oh no way, I wasn't just clicking. This hand seems like a keep. This is awkward though, because like each one of these cards is better in a different matchup. I guess I bottom the Wisp. I might get punished by that, obviously, but Copter is gas though. Yeah, Copter sounds good. Okay, choose your poison. Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a limit to the amount of canopy lands that you can play. Might not be correct, but it's spicy and that's what matters. I mean, it's not... I usually don't like the use of the word correct or not, because like it's just so relative. Okay, so it's like nothing happened. Okay, are we playing against Smallpox? Are we playing against 8-rack? Like, is this what's going on right now? I can't play around anything, so I'm just gonna jam my creatures into my opponent's stuff. We also mulliganed against 8-rack, so like if they smallpox us, we probably just can't win anymore, right? Okay, maybe we can beat... Nah, we can't beat that either. We can't beat that either. Sure. So what we're gonna do, obviously, is... But, I mean, my opponent's gonna ultimate Liliana next turn, so... So on the rest step, we're gonna draw a card. Another land, obviously. And another land. Alright. Can we pack it in here? The thing is that my opponent doesn't need to ultimate Liliana, and everything that I play, like, is there anything that I can play that gets me out of the situation? I don't think that there is. Apparition. Okay, so I guess we're still in this. Yeah, Apparition is the only way that I have to win this. Yeah, they continue plussing, which is definitely the correct play here. Hopefully we punish them by drawing exactly Apparition right now. Apparition. At the same time, we're getting clocked by this. Okay, so now they can't ult. Yeah. Deck Thin is pretty much irrelevant, and if my opponent draws Immutable, then we're really gonna need this field, right? Like, Deck Thin is just such a small percentage. Okay. Alright, so... This seems good. These seem bad. This seems okay. This seems okay. Even these are still not incredible because we're still losing to stuff like... we're still losing to stuff like... What's the name of the dude? Play Engineer. But Arbiter also seems really, really bad here. So I guess I'd rather have answers to Plague Engineer instead of Arbiter. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, submit. Also against State Rack, usually I like to be on the draw. Because usually... Sure, this and you never mulligan any hand, basically. Waste Not is interesting. Liliana. Hypnotic Spectre. Holy shit, that's a card. Apparition. I think I'm gonna play this sword here. Hypnotic Spectre. I legit did not remember this card being legal in this format. Four mana on combat step. Yeah, this is an oldie but a goodie. Liliana. Yeah, we can't do anything about any of this. So we still need to draw something like an apparition or whatever. Yep. We're just dead actually. We can't come back. Maybe we can't come back. Like, they had perfect info. They should have just plus Liliana. Why would they do that? Oh, yeah. I mean, they could have done that just the same. All right. We kept it 600, it happens. Yeah, but that's... I don't think that you can mulligan against, like that against Abrac. Like, what were we mulliganing to, right? What were we mulliganing to? We just... Our cards are not powerful. We need the raw amount of cards. Like, every card that we would play... If we had played this, my opponent just answers. If we draw this, like, it's just the nature of the deck. Like, you're not playing cards that are pound for pound better than your opponent. You just are not. Let's link Sword on the Wisp. So you have to hope, you have to keep a hand like that one, and you have to hope that somehow if you keep a threat dense hand, then your opponent just makes you discard those cards. And you're in the same spot. And you are mulliganing against 8-rack, which is exactly what they want you to do. And then what happens if we find a no-lander, right? We find a no-lander, and now all of a sudden we actually have 0. We have 0 shot because we have to mulligan again, etc. This is actually interesting. Yeah, we're definitely playing Stoneforge here, 100%, but what are we getting with it? Sword of Fire and Ice? I kind of like Sword of Fire and Ice. The problem with Sword is that we get got by Skyclave super hard. I think I'm gonna go for Battle Skull, actually. It's possible that that was a mistake. The reason why DNT is making a comeback, and it's the thing, is because of the London Mall. We could block plus give protection. My opponent paths the Stoneforge in response. Yeah, I'm free. I'm okay taking this too. I am okay taking this too. And if they miss their land drop, sweet. So I'm just gonna Skyclave their Vial while they can't save it. Yeah, no, the reason that this deck is good now is this one, right? There's nothing they can have for 2 mana. They can path on end step and we just give protection from white. Sure, they can path that one. Just gives us a land. And now we're super far ahead on mana, super far ahead on board. I guess not super far ahead on board, but we are ahead on board. And I don't want Apparition. I want to save this for something more impactful than a Leonin Arbiter. Am I willing to trade, though? I could trade. Nah, I'm just gonna play just play Thalia, which means that my opponent doesn't have good attacks anymore. And then we can just start using this Battle Skull. Yeah, Maul is definitely a big part of it. Maul is very, very strong. That guy is also pretty good. So if they block with Archon plus Arbiter, we kill the Archon and we just bounce and replay the Battle Skull. So yeah, I don't want to Skyclave. Just play Arbiter. Been thinking about that myself. Don't remember exactly when the last truly good white card was printed. You mean before this one? Before this one. That's a good question. Yeah, Teferi, but like I imagine that they mean mono white. Yeah, just mono white. I think I understand what you mean. So they can blink the germ here. It kills the germ. But then we can just equip to this Thalia. And like I think I cycle Canopy here. Oof. We can blow up one of their lands. Okay, so we path, we pay. and then we blow up their field. Oh no, Path is 3 mana, never mind. It intercept, you're right, yeah. So let's just do this. We have a big Thalia now. And now they have to deal with my Thalia, and if they do, I don't care. Yeah, I'm probably not winning this race. Yeah, so there is that. So what we can do is we can do 1, 2, 3, path their arbiter, then pay for ours. And we just do this same thing next turn. We still have operation to deal with either one of these dudes. Oh, that works. Whoops. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I guess I should have pathed literally anything but the arbiter there. Okay, there's the Batter Skull. That's a sick draw, actually. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Attack. We can path this, and then we, yeah, this seems good to me. So we path the Germ, we kill the Archon. Now they can equip onto the Wisp, but then we Skyclave the Wisp, and we swing again with the Arbiter. Yep. Oh, they equip onto the Thalia. That's interesting, okay. I think we want to blow up their lands. It means that there's nothing else that they can do this turn. Okay, we're playing the Mirror. Winds of Abandon sounds okay. Mind Sensor is just a flying threat. Thalia seems really bad, but at the same time, it's one of the few first strike bodies that we have. We also have Mirror Crusader as a potential first strike body. Obviously, the protection is completely irrelevant, but like there's going to be a lot of creature combat in this matchup, so Arena Thalia out. Yeah, that's where my mind is going right now. But I think I am favoring Thalia over Arbiter. And I don't know how many of those cards I want to cut. I know that I want the wins. Like, the wins are there for sure. These are the cards that I'm cutting. Revoker for Vile. Chase of Masters, think of it, follow. So, we are... I've lost my Moto Virginity. Nice. Good for you, Shana. Yeah, Revoker looks good. We can also, like, when it starts being awkward for us, we can reset it with Flicker Wisp too, which is funny. And then we need 4 cards out of these. Yeah, that's why I put it amongst the cards that I might be interested in. Maybe 2 Thalia and 2 Mind Sensors. This is just an Elvish Archer, right? Like 2 mana, 2/1. That's what we care about, but the first strike is actually pretty important. The only thing that actually matters is the first strike, and in the case of Archon or even Mind Sensor, the flying matters. Let's go with this. Mirror Crusader is definitely interesting, but like 2 mana versus 3 mana on the draw could potentially be a difference maker. Have a pretty removal heavy draw, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Wow. That is very interesting to me. Well, I'm definitely pathing the Giver. That's the easy part, and we're doing that right now, obviously. And then I can Ghost Squatter their Ghost Squatter. Or I can Ghost Squatter their White Source. I think I want to Ghost Squatter their White Source. You will never actually cut them off white. That's not true. All right, so both of us went back to the Stone Age. If they go squatter me here, I'm just gonna path in response. So it's kind of like they go squatter themselves there. Interesting that they kept Arbiter. Oh my god, another one? Jeez. Okay. Guess I just play an Archon here. My opponent probably will field me. But that means that they don't get to search either. Got him. Yep. Now they can't attack. Just gonna blink my own Archon. Pseudo-Vigilance. Let's go. Wow. My buddy used 3 Path to Exiles. I used 2. Yeah, we're gonna have to kill this Arbiter now, obviously. Field of Ruin is interesting. Yeah, we just have to wince them. Gives them a land, but I can't beat the sword. Guess it would make the Arbiter a 4/4. That's really bad for us. That is really, really bad for us. Something, an answer. That's not an answer. So now we just lose, right? My opponent just equips there and we can never keep up. We just play this as a chump blocker. And now my opponent starts getting their card advantage. And we just lose. Our own? Yeah, we needed to find our own Skyclave there. And if we draw our own Skyclave, I guess we kill their Skyclave. Oh, they also drew Batterskull? No, now we would need to kill the sword. Yeah, now we can't win anymore. Okay. Okay, so on the play now. Maybe Arbiter is better now. Arbiter so loose. Yes, it is, but like we just don't have good cards, right? Like there's actually no good cards that we could be playing. It's kind of the nature of this list for the mirror match. Mirror Crusade is actually good. I don't think I agree that much. Let's just pass here. Thank you for that follow. Yokohama. 3 mana 4/4. It's not a 3 mana 4/4. It's a 3 mana 2/2 with double strike. It's a bit of a difference. Well, that sucks. Don't have an apparition, please. Arbiter is fine. We didn't path Thalia with Thalia on the stack. Seems tough to do. You mean to path Giver? They're tapping just like that? Okay. another giver. Okay, so we're gonna have to kill these. So another land is interesting. So now we can deal with both givers. Or we can deal with Thalia and then deal with one of the givers. And we can use winds actually, which is nice. So I think I'm gonna go for that. So we're gonna go for Apparition, kill Thalia here, and then we're gonna winds one of these. And then I guess we attack because we still have a blocker. That was a really aggressive attack from my opponent, honestly. I don't like that attack at all. Always no, always yield. Sweet. So second vial is bad, but I guess it's not the end of the world. Okay, so we're definitely going to path this giver now. Since they are tapped out. Well, do it. Can I? I think I actually like to Skycleave the giver. And then path the germ. Now we can winds. Answering with everything. Okay, so now we're gonna lose to the Batter Skull, right? Yep. Yeah, we needed to draw something there. But now my opponent just equipped the Batter Skull onto the Archon and I can't win anymore. If only we had a 3-powered creature, it would do literally nothing, right? You don't attack for the 2. It's not relevant. Like they're gonna win a bunch of life. Like I'd rather be able to protect my Skyclaves, which my opponent could answer, and they get even one more threat. I think that we're just dead. That's right. Archon has text. So it seems pretty straightforward, right? Like whoever draws the most equipment will win. As long as there's one creature to put equipment on, that player is going to win the game, and there's not too much that the other player can do. All 3 games came down to the same thing. In the first one, we were the ones that had access to the equipment, so we won. In the second one and the third one, my opponents were the ones that had access to the equipment. Removal doesn't do anything because they just move the equipment onto another threat, right? Which is what I was trying to clock them, because I knew that my opponent was going to be advantaged because they have a battle school and I don't, right? So because we knew that, I was trying to end the game quickly and I was trying to have them not draw a threat and for me to be able to kill them before that happens. And that just wasn't the case. So because they had more equipment than we did, they ended up winning and there was nothing that we could do about it. So yeah, basically whoever draws more of equipment or skyclaves apparently is the one that wins. I think we should have the 2-mana guided exiles artifacts in the board. I think that is just not good enough nowadays, right? And you kind of have apparition that does something similar. So having Stony in the mirror, yeah. I probably don't want to be doing that, I'll tell you that much. I think I'm going to keep this hand. We're on the play. We get turn 2 Thalia, turn 3 Archon. What's up, Sweatpants? How's it going? The card that will win the mirror is probably Displacer. Yeah, because Displacer messes with the equipment, right? So if you have an active Displacer, even if your opponent has equipment, you can beat that. But the mirror just, again, this is just describing my very limited experience, right? I literally have one mirror match, 3 games under my belt. That's it. So my experience is very limited, so take it with a grain of salt, but it did feel like all 3 games, it was all about the same. So even though my experience is limited, it kind of felt like it might be representative. Have years of D&T experience, and it's easy if you outplay the opponent. Yeah, but like, I just don't think that's true. If you get outdrawn, you being able to outplay your opponent doesn't matter if you don't have the cards to do it, right? There's a regular and good player on my LGS that plays Belcher without the black combo. Why is your advice to beat him as an amulet list? I am thinking definitely a con list. Anything else? No, that's kind of it. There's not really that much that you can do in that matchup specifically. Oh, that's right. This card has text. But yeah, you saw like that match in particular, for example, is just like there was nothing that we could do. Like my opponent just had the better cards, so we can go squatter. I can go squatter myself here in order to deny my opponent a draw. I don't think that's worth it. You aggressively traded resources. So if I had not traded the resources when I did, my opponent would have been ahead. So we are still in the same spot, right? It's a matter that my opponent had 2-for-1s and I didn't. My opponent had a Batter Skull. Batter Skull meant that I just had to trade with my resources with my opponent. It's the same thing. Like in limited, it is exactly the same, right? If your opponent has a card advantage engine and you don't, you're just going to eventually lose. Unless you kill them before they can actually get value from that card advantage engine, which is what I was trying to do. I was trying to switch gears and put my opponent in a situation where they need to draw out of me stopping their card advantage. I should have given it this Pro Blue. That was I made a mistake there. I kind of was thinking about something else when I brain farted. Because obviously this is a free block for them, so I just made a silly mistake. Yeah, let's do sword. Their small creatures are not relevant. I mean, they are relevant when my opponent has 3 and I only have 1, right? If my opponent has 4 small creatures and I have 1, then they're going to start to matter. Because at that point, we're getting to this a very similar situation, right? Where we're getting to a very similar situation because my opponent actually is in a position where they are able to trade resources. They're able to get ahead, and they're able to get there and kill me before my card advantage engines, which I didn't draw, but I could have drawn, actually become relevant. So I think they had Cryptic Tap, but if they have Cryptic Tap, I'm kind of okay with that. I think Mirror Crusade is important in the matchup. That's possible, yeah. That is very much possible. Tap all creatures, draw a card. Okay. We give Pro to this one, right? This is the one that's the most disruptive. Black-white taxes is gas and shreds mirrors. Sure, yeah. It's not what we're playing though, so. I mean, it makes sense. You have a version of the deck that actually has a lot of play, like from a discard spell standpoint, right? You get to deal with your opponent's threats before they become a threat. Like Scholar seems like it would be pretty good in the mirror, right? Like your opponent just uses Stoneforge and then you answer Battle Skull when it's in your opponent's hand. Is the mirror popular? The NRT seems like a good next step for D&T if that is something we're trying to do. Well, the thing with the black versions of the deck is that the mana base is just terrible. The mana base is just super, super bad, and there's not really that much that you can do about it. It's not really fixable. Because your mana requirements are just like split in so many different directions that there's really nothing that you can do about it. What do you think about signing out Data Rival? You probably can't get away with it because of potential mana issues. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, mana is pretty important in the mirror too, as we just saw. Okay, what are we doing here? Mind Sensor seems kind of interesting. Path seems lackluster. We can answer Shark Typhoon tokens with Flicker Wisp. 3-color mana base that can't play fetches in Moldaris already. Yeah, that's the big issue. The black versions are like without colorless, I assume you mean. And like even without colorless, I think that the mana base is still pretty messy. We're playing against Spike's control deck. I kind of like Mind Sensor. Revoker is interesting against their counter spells, and it can also name Shark Typhoon. I don't think that's where I want to be though. No, Snap is just... The good thing about Rip is that it stops their Flagstones engine, but it's also kind of meh. Player with access to displacer tends to be favored over the player without. I'm thinking more white colorless taxes. Yeah, that is something that you can do. Your mana base would still be pretty rough, right? It's not free. But yeah, for sure. Also, Displacer is kind of a sick combo with this is a very good hand, by the way. Displacer is a super sick combo with what's his name, right? With what's the name of the card? Skyclave, yeah. Like cutting Arbiter and Apparition for Crusade, Revoker, and Mind Sensor along with Forge Tender. Okay. I think I want to go for Arbiter here. I think it's going to be the most disruptive. And if my opponent has a path, they have to waste it on it. Or if they have a Lightning Bolt, we just get them with Forge Tender. We can also just get remanded, but c'est la vie. But Arbiter seems like something that my opponent is probably going to be forced to answer. Or they can just remand. Oh, Cycle Shark Typhoon? Okay. It's funny how this works. Because they're still gonna gain the life. But we prevent the damage. So we play this, we go squatter them. We attack. And now we pass the turn. Because if they play a fetch land, we can get them. And if they don't play a fetch land, we can end of turn Violent Stoneforge. And with the trigger on the stack, we pay for the Arbiter attacks. And I think we get Sword. Bring this up to 3. Opponent doesn't want to play anymore. Arbiter too strong. Arbiter way too strong. You saw it here first. This deck is very interesting to play though. I like it. I'm not doing a lot of winning, but it's still, I do find it very, very interesting. I think I should try the Emayashi Prowess deck. Yeah, that was the other one that I was thinking about trying today. Maybe I will do that next Friday. Maybe I'll do that next Friday. We can go squatter the Flagstones. Just play a second Violence, I go. Like, I don't want to give my opponent value from the remand. If we play a Thalion, it gets remanded. Seems like a really, really bad exchange for us, so I'd rather just... Next Friday is so far away. It kind of is. But it's okay. Trust me, it will get there. I am a believer. Opponent not playing around Arbiter. Now that they didn't float mana, I'm just gonna flash in Italia. Mess with their mana count a little bit. So now they can't cast a 3 fairy, for example. Boom, boom. Gonna uptick both vials. I guess the order of vials activations would have mattered, which is funny. Like now my opponent knows that there's no Arbiter, right? So if they want to fetch now, which they honestly they should have fetched a while ago at this point. But I guess they could have fetched on their turn as well. When I tapped for this, that means that there's no Arbiter coming in, so my opponent's just not respecting the Arbiter. Alright, that's exactly what we wanted. We were in a situation where we're looking for exactly our card advantage engines. Paying the tax isn't that big of a deal for them. Yes, it is if they want to kill the Thalia. If they want to kill the Thalia on this very turn, then they can't do both. Okay, so they did kill the Thalia. So you see, they kind of exposed themselves to something they shouldn't have, really. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Violin Italia in response. And I'm going to get to keep this one. This means that my opponent doesn't get priority to do anything. And we get to play Stoneforge. And I guess that we can protect the Stoneforge, so I'm going to go for the Sword. We can protect it with Flicker Wisp, so... No, I don't like wisping it when we have already another Thalia in hand, right? I'd rather save the Flicker Wisp to, like, we can save this Thalia now if we care to, or we can just save this Stoneforge. We can even like take one of the red sources on end step. I don't think that's valuable enough. I think we're just gonna say always no, always no, always yield. Skip these on 3 and 2 respectively. We might get punished if we find like a second Flicker Wisp or something, but that's okay. Apparition. If they have removal, they have to use it now. Now we can use the Wisp to save this Thalia. And now my opponent has multiple threats that I need to get rid of. Is this game 1 or 2? I think it's game 1, right? This is the second match against Taxes against this deck in a row. Whisper's Flight is the be better than sex. I don't think my opponent has Verdict in their deck. That's why I'm not playing around it. But they do have stuff like Cryptic, and they have Planeswalkers and stuff like that. I I think I'm equipping on the Stoneforge because it's the one that I care the least if it dies. But my opponent's gonna need double removal here. This is another one of the decks that I was considering playing for. This or Sharkblade. One of the Aspiring Spike specials. This deck looks like a lot of fun to me. Okay. Removal number 1. They don't have removal. Okay, so they're gonna have Path. And it's great that we get to attack with everything. If they cycle Shark Typhoon, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to Ghost Quarter their Triumph. No, I guess Violin Arbiter, Ghost Quarter their Triumph, and Path their Shark. So they can't block my Wisp. Path is not getting any better than pathing Shark Typhoon tokens. Opponent, are you over there? Oh, that's true. We can't go square and Path. Good point. So I guess we would just Path. I forgot that we have a Thalia in play. Opponent. There we go. Another Snapcaster. Go nuts. Yep. They just learned that Sword of Fire and Ice gives protection from blue. I think that's what just happened. Oh, they conceded the match. Okay. All right. I love how it was tank, 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 tank. Play my Snapcaster, concede. Snapcaster low, look Thalia, first strike, both die, go. Yeah, poor opponent probably doesn't have a lot of experience in the Taxes matchup. To be fair, I don't have that much experience with this deck against anything, so. The Jund Dream. Yeah, can you imagine 3-2 in a league? I think my favorite thing about Death and Taxes, and I'm not even kidding here, my favorite thing that I like about this deck is how clean it is that we have 12 1-drops, 12 2-drops, and 12 3-drops. Like you just cannot make this stuff up. Like look at how clean this looks. It's like a perfect square. I guess it would be a sort of rectangle. No, it's not a square, but how clean is that? So clean. Why are they playing Control if they're not familiar with the format? Because they want to have some fun playing Control. I don't know. You get to have fun. This hand's bad, right? I'm gonna mulligan this hand, and then I am gonna be waiting for people in chat to say, oh, but that guy was actually snap keep because of blah blah blah. Okay, this one does look like a keep. Now I have no idea what I'm supposed to bottom though. Maybe the Arbiter? It's probably one of these. We could also bottom a land. We could bottom a land. Let's be greedy. Yeah, sure. Let's be greedy. I like to be greedy. Soul Scar Mage. Is this just blue-red? First I was napkin because I don't punt enough. Oh, I do punt. I do punt. They're gonna light up the stage me if I don't block here. Shit. Come on, give me that light up the stage. Oh, they don't? Pog. Well, that would have been awesome to play on turn 1. Okay, so this card actually does not matter, but what we get to do is we get to Stoneforge for Batterskull. And we have protection with Giver, which seems pretty damn good. Give me that skull. Let's go. Got into the edge because of the virus. So far, all I've seen every game is people worrying about the power level of each deck and then bad feelings every game because who wins is clearly the most powerful deck, and then everybody feels the person won just because of that and doesn't, and it always feels weird. Can EDH try to here tell me about the positive appeal of EDH? I don't know, my friend. I don't like EDH personally either, so I can't really help you there. Luke Crowell, thank you for the follow. What if I block now? No, we don't block. Stage has been lit up, which means that my Stoneforge is surviving, which means that I'm gonna get to play this Batterskull. Yeah, we're kind of time walking ourselves a little bit by not playing anything, but like this Batterskull is gonna be very strong here. And I of course got punished for bottoming the land. Like land here, we play Vile, we play Batterskull, would have been so insane. EDH is funny, you have a specific flavor of people you like, and as an objective format it is heinous. Yeah, I don't know. I personally don't see the appeal, so, but I know that a lot of people really enjoy it, so go nuts, right? I'm all about people enjoying formats. Stage has been lit up, but they can't play anything else this turn. If they attack, we basically gain 4. I guess we stay even, but then we attack back and they can't block, which I guess they're probably not blocking regardless. If I draw a land, I'm gonna slam this Archon, and that probably is gonna be game. So my opponent got all of those Prowess triggers and did nothing with them. That's an amazing exchange for us. Awesome. Mutagenic growth. Okay. I think I'm gonna switch gears here. So we're gonna give this pro red. And we can Skyclave one of these. I still think Archon is the better play. EDH is just not for Spike. It is a Timmy or a Johnny Farmer. Winning is not as important as how you win. Yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%. If you are a competitive player and you're playing EDH, you're just doing EDH wrong. That is basically my experience, because like if you're a Spike and you are trying to be competitive while playing EDH, everybody's gonna hate you. Sure. I have to play the Crash Room right here. So we will be taking 8 here, but then we get 2, so that's fine. Attack there. And I think we're just gonna play Vial plus Stoneforge. I'm just very, very interested in getting this Vial going here. If you want to balance power levels, you can try getting setting a specific budget on cards, or do like an Helena-esque point system, but people complain about power level. It's just always kind of an issue. Yeah. Competitive EDH is actually kind of sick. Yeah, I actually did enjoy it a lot when competitive EDH was a thing in MTGO. I did like that format. I actually thought that it was pretty fun. So from what you can only play like once a month before getting bored, but it really is cool that one time. Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Lava Dart, Might Giver. It's pretty good. That is pretty good. It's been a while since I saw Reveler in this decks. Usually the lists nowadays play either Obosh or the other guy. So they get a shit ton of Prowess triggers here. Probably killing the Giver. Yep. So we're gonna give this thing Pro Red. Giver down. Like that CDH, but it feels always been like have 4 people playing Storm. And a couple interaction spells and see who orgasms first. Yeah. It's rough. Okay, so let's do this. If they have another mutagenic, that's still not lethal. Land would actually be great. If we draw any land, that would be insane. Land? Nope. The reason for that obviously being that we would be able to equip Sword and onto the Germ, which means that we would have a 4/4 Vigilance Lifelinker. We have a couple of options here. We can play the Apparition and kill one of the Soul Scar mages. We can just hardcast them all and make the Germ into a 4/4 and swing for 4. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the play. I think we just have to equip them all. If we had had the pro Rev sword, that would have been so much better for us. This is what it is. If they kill this Germ now, we just lose, basically. We basically have all of our eggs in this basket. We're gonna play Thalia, but if they have Lava Dart and they just Lava Dart the Thalia, we just lose. No, that's exactly what I was saying. 1 Blubber. It's 2 mana to do this, and then 2 more mana to equip. This doesn't look like modern playable. It does look pretty strong. Like the tempo swing is pretty good. But yeah, that's what I was talking about. If I had 4 mana, that would have been amazing because I would have gotten to attack and kill this Monastery Swift Spear. So now we just need for my opponent to whiff, and they started the turn with Metamorphose, which is very bad for us. I'm just piecing together lethal. That's good for us. No, that's not good for us. Yeah, that's really bad for us. Yeah, that's actually just lethal, because we gain 4, we go up to 16, we block here, and then we have no board say, yeah, we're just dead here. We can't win anymore. We just take 15, go down to 1. No, we cannot gain life. Oh, never mind. We're actually just dead. Feels bad. Yeah, like the two things that it gives are very, very relevant. Both the first strike and the flying are very, very relevant in a lot of matchups. So Arbiter seems like completely bad, like absolutely unplayable. And then what else? Flicker Wisp seems kind of bad. Apparition also seems pretty medium as well. Thalia seems much better on the play than on the draw. I mean, it's still okay on the draw, I guess. It's just really bad against that thing, but against Lava Dart. But Wisp just seems worse against Lava Dart. Brutal. If we had been able to kill that Swift Spear with the sword trigger, I think that would have been a different game, but it is what it is. Pretty nice curve going on here. Turn 1 Giver, turn 2 Ariok Champion. Opponent can't really get through this anymore. Next turn with Thalia plus 2nd Giver. It's pretty nightmare-ish for my opponent. Why? What's up, Sonic? How's it going? Why am I playing this nonsense? It's because on Fridays I play decks. I played decks from the format. Actually, maybe I could play some Dredge sometime soon. Yeah. So yeah, so last week we played the 4-color Omnath deck. It felt pretty gross. Why Dredge? I don't know. Just because I saw you here in chat and I'm like, might as well. I enjoy the change of pace every now and then, and I think it's also a good idea to play decks that are not always Amulet, you know? So let's do this. Let's do this. Feel like I'm in okay shape here. Feel you Magic is more fun for me when I'm not playing Dredge all the time. Yeah, exactly. So it gives me a breather. It gives folks that are checking out the channel like something a little bit different. Like I just stream so much Amulet and Green White Reclaimer, right? So yeah, now you're playing Oops. Oh, nice. How do you like that deck, Sodek? I feel like you are one of the people that can actually take that deck to the next level. My theory, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that people are super lazy with that deck. And that we're not seeing that deck dominate the format currently because I think that people are just not trying to innovate on it. What do you think? Do you think that the deck is just not good, or do you think that people are getting lazy? The truth is that it is a match to innovate now. Okay, so you think that like the deck just doesn't have enough tools or something? I think I'm gonna start turning the corner next turn. Start attacking. Deck is kind of solved. You think that there's nowhere to go with that deck? Do you actually feel like there's nowhere you can go? So this gives pro colorless, so we can save. We'll probably save the Ariok champion, and I save one of the givers. Or is it better to save the Thalia? I feel like I like to save one of the givers. So you gain pro colorless. And you gain pro colorless. Like any other glass cannon, and it's both fine and healthy. Yeah, okay. It doesn't have a backup plan, so we'll win tournaments with players are ignoring it. Oh, okay. Is that your approach to it? How's it going? It's going well for now. That's exactly what we needed. Sweet. That is exactly what we needed. Sword of Fire and Ice or Batterskull is the question. I kind of like Sword of Fire and Ice on this board state. Now the question is, do I want to path this thing? I think I do. Actually I don't. Like, we might actually be able to overload this, particularly once we get Sword going. Feels like being at 27 is going to be tough for my opponent to kill me from here. Not impossible, not absolutely impossible, but it definitely will not be easy. Okay, so they go face, so they have light up the stage. which is definitely very good for them. Shrine of Burning Rage. That's a card. Flame Slash My Giver. So we're gonna give this protection from red. Overloaded wins today, got 16 creatures. Jesus. Alright, so land is not the worst. Okay, so now we're just gonna have to do this, which I think it's fine. Again, we're at a very high life total, so double pro red, let's go. But now we get to kill the Souls card. Die you. They can mutagenic growth to save it, but that is a lot of damage that I'm not taking, so not too worried about that. Lava Dart. Okay, that's also fine. I guess I had forgotten about that. Doesn't seem like the worst case scenario either. All right, can you deal 26? That's the challenge. Deal 26 right now. Got a Shrine of Burning Rage. Another Lavadar. That's actually very good for them. That is quite good for them. So we're just gonna Apparition the Shrine. Post-combat. This represents 3, so by doing this, I'm effectively gaining 2 life. And I'm denying my opponent 1 mana. They just took it. Okay. It's probably even better for us. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is just perfect, right? Just Skyclave this. And then we Archon. And that's it. That's the game. That is the game. Yes. No, we still have game 3. This is yet not over yet. This is not over yet. But we are gonna go to game 3. We are gonna go to game 3. Sweet. Coastal Return definitely a good one to have in mind. We can't really play around K return, so I guess that we just submit the same, right? None of these cards are exciting. Brutal that K return even gets around Burnt and Forge Tender. It's so gross. This is how the debacle begins. Alright, I'm gonna keep this and bottom the wins. I wish I could spend that turn to play Vile, but if this is just so much better in the face of my opponent having something that like a light up the stage. And we get Thalia with burn turn protection. Metamorphose. Thalia. There's a Thalia. Yeah, you can't K return, my friend. You cannot K return because there's a Thalia. Yes, I will block. It's gonna pass the turn. If my opponent wants to shrine my burn turn, that's kind of fine. They could shrine my Thalia too, but that's also fine. Okay, so instead they just time walk themselves, which is also fine. Soul Scar, okay. Block. This is a very interesting turn. Because I can Skyclave one of these guys. Or I can hold a path. Can also cycle the canopy, which I don't hate, because we kind of need a little bit of business here. Yeah, okay, so let's actually do that. So we're gonna cycle canopy. See what's up. Another Skyclave. That's brutal. Well, now obviously playing Skyclave would have been better, but it is what it is. My opponent's playing this game pretty well. Brutal. Wow, that's so bad. Just gonna take one of these soul scars. The only problem now is I'm opening myself to K return, which is very likely in my opponent's hand. Yeah, it is. What's going on here? If you're gonna K return, you definitely want to wait. Wow. Wow. Jeez. Okay. Thalia TRL, keep putting me in, coach says. Hell yeah, Thalia. Welcome. Welcome for the 13th month to the Primetime Stronghold. Really appreciate your continued support. Over a year now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Should we serve here? Nah, let's not serve. It's not really helping out that much, and if they have like the 2 points don't matter, and if they have mutagenic growth, I would be just like kind of wasting my turn there. 4 mana, light up the stage. Okay. Woof. Those are some good ones. No cards in hand though. No cards in hand. That's good. That is good. Yeah. Basically, it would be trading Italia for either one of their dudes, which probably is not a good trade for them. Yeah, I think we're just gonna Skyclave this guy. Play Giver. Give them more target for their things. And we are still leaving ourselves one more Skyclave. Now I am not gonna block, so now I'm going to attack. But yeah, this Thalia is not blocking here, so... we definitely need something here. We definitely need something here. We need like a Stoneforge Mystic or something like that. We're definitely in the need of something like that. So they kill Thalia, that's okay. And they're probably gonna bolt the Giver. We could double block one of these. My opponent uses... Yeah. So we're definitely... So what we can do is we can block here. If they don't want to trade, they need to bolt one of these. And if they do, I just Skyclave Apparition that thing. And we only take 3. Okay, now we have a lot of time. Now we have a lot of time, but my opponent actually is not far from casting... Oh. No Reveler is good, but that's still no good. Ugh. At least now we have Giver active. Always no, always yield. That's not what we're looking for. Not what we're looking for. I think I'm interested in Ghost Squattering my opponent's tapped Fiery Islet. Just to deny them a redraw. Maybe I should have attacked there. Nah. As long as they don't find Revelers, we're gonna be fine, but seems pretty tough to... It's pretty weird, but okay. Doing both of those on my end step is kind of weird. Like, I don't have Italia and my Vial is on 3, so obviously I'm not gonna be playing that. So I don't really see the point for doing that on end step instead of getting the triggers. Like, they don't know about the path. We still need business though. We still need to draw something that actually does stuff. So the bad thing is that we don't really have that many of those. So we can draw, our best draw would probably be Stoneforge. Stoneforge Mystic is probably good. Brutal. Yeah, now we're actually pretty behind. You would have in our position pull red and block their guy. Yeah, maybe you're right. Stoneforge, please. How about land instead? They're not playing around anything. Please, something good. You're killing me, deck. You really are killing me. No, they are killing me. Yeah, that's also true. Yes, this one goes up, the other one stays on 3. Can't even block this because these stupid idiots are blue. God damn it. We can't even block their illusions. Feels bad, man. Any creature, please. Okay. Well, I guess I'm not blocking, so I might as well attack. This is bad against exactly Monastery Swift Spear. What's the point of... I mean, they don't know that I'm drawing planes, right? I could be drawing a Path to Exile that I'm not willing to use on illusions. They totally have Lava Dart, don't they? 100% have Lava Dart. A Braid? A Braid. Okay, now we can't attack anymore. Alright, give me something good. Please, deck. Always no. Stoneforge. Okay, so now we're dead to Lightning Bolt, we're dead to Burst Lightning, we're dead to so many things. It's not even funny how many things we're dead to. Killed by my own illusions, the irony. Can we please draw something of relevance? Nope. We cannot draw something of relevance. Yeah. Fuck, man. Like, we were just so close, and they just drew blank after blank after blank for turn 14. So what was it, like? This would have been okay, like not great, but it would have been okay. This would have probably won the game. This would have probably won the game. Same with, probably this one not so. Actually, yes, this one actually would have done it too. This one would have helped a lot. It would have stemmed the bleeding. This one would have been, I guess, not good, but it would have been okay. This, if it had shown up a little bit earlier, Burrinter Force Center would have been okay. All right. So yeah, so this deck is okay. I think it's good, but I don't know. It feels like you can be a master. Like you see the same folks doing great with this deck, like Spider Space, like Parrot, like those guys. They've been playing this deck for years, and They know the ins and outs and all the possibilities. They know how to build their decks in order to beat the meta, which I think it's actually a huge part of this deck's power level. Like the fact that you're mono white and you have access to such powerful sideboard cards like Forge Tender, Rest in Peace, Oriok Champion. Like these numbers are going to be very, very important, and I think that these are numbers that should be. It's basically the same as Amulet. Like these numbers should probably change week in and week out, right? That you should be adapting to the new metagames. Chad, don't play Rip, says Sodic. Of course. Don't play Rip, Chad. Rip is terrible. But yeah, that was just my feeling. You have a very limited amount of very powerful cards, and then you have a lot of situational cards. If I had to split these cards on really, really powerful and kind of medium, these would be like the actually powerful cards that I see in this deck. These are the actually powerful cards. The core package, we can call it. These are the actually powerful cards. Probably Apparition should be in this list as well. And then all of these are situationally powerful. Like Flicker Whips has a lot of synergies. It has a lot of tricks that you can do with Aether Vial, of course. So I don't underestimate Flicker Whips. Like this is a really, really powerful card, but I don't think it's even close to the power level of these 12 right here. Iron Soulforge and Catchicious and Numbo. Yes, it is, but you can usually play around it a little bit. So like it's the same as, you know, Dryad plus Boil. Like sometimes it's super awkward, but still, like it's, again, I'm saying, like we don't have many card advantage engines. Like this is our card advantage engine, period. Nothing else in this deck is a 2-for-1. I guess Aberration kind of is, but also not really at the same time. Like we actually died to my Aberration triggers in this previous match that we just played. So clearly, like the token is not irrelevant, particularly when playing against aggressive decks. So I do think that this is a pseudo 2-for-1. Again, I'm putting this card in the good cards list, right? So that's not a coincidence. But you literally have one card advantage engine. That's it. So when we find ourselves in a situation like the one that we did in the previous game, it's just you're just crossing your fingers and hoping that the top of your deck is going to deliver. And if it doesn't, there's nothing you can do. You're just gonna die. Like we spent like 8 turns. We had an almost stabilized board, and we have like, I don't know, like 8 draw steps or something to draw some of our relevant spells, and we didn't, so we just died, and there was nothing that we could do about it. When you're playing a deck like Jund, like a lot of your decks are this power level. Like you have Red and 6, you have Liliana, you have a Tarmogoyf, you have all of your removal, a Bloodbraid Elf. Like it's a different kind of powerful, right? It's actually pound for pound, your cards are a lot more powerful than these decks. So when you're playing a deck like this, you're hoping that you can leverage the not the power of Thalia or Lunar, but the taxes aspect of it, obviously. Same with Archon of Emeria. So when you cannot leverage those, like when you find yourself in a late game situation like we did right there, you're the top of your deck is a lot less live than our opponents. Like even in that example that we just had, when we were playing against the mono red deck, like our opponent had a ton of draw steps, right? They had a bunch of draw steps that insta win the game, like Reveler just wins the game on the spot and stuff like that. But even like their fail rate is not that bad because they drew an upgrade, for example, that they had no good targets for, and they just saved it. And when I played one of my spells, it just didn't matter. So like they just nullified one of my spells. So they had a lot of more powerful potential top decks than we did. So this deck is fun. This deck is powerful. I'm not saying that this deck is not powerful, but I'm saying that pound for pound the cards are a lot less powerful than other decks' cards. So you kind of you're getting hurt by that aspect. So yeah, it's cool. It's a fun deck to play. I think that it is probably tier 1.5. I don't think that I would probably consider this tier 1. I think that I would consider this tier 1.5. It is definitely amongst the best decks in the format, or one of the top decks in the format. But I think that it is worse than some other, you know, mid-range deck that is pound for pound more powerful. Would I play Jund over this? Probably not, because the axis in which this deck fights seems more important to me right now than the axis in which Jund fights. So that is something to keep in mind. Another important thing is that we played against 0 combo decks. We played against absolutely no combo decks whatsoever, which is precisely where this deck shines. Like against the combo decks, against the decks where Thalia is at its best, against the deck where your taxes aspect does the most work, against like graveyard decks where Rest in Peace is just a 1-card KO. There's a bunch of matchups against which our tools are a lot less powerful, and we saw none of them. We played against all fair decks, all control decks, and Tron a couple of times. So, how would you feel about Anil Eldrazi over Stoneforge as a top 10? That sounds like a great idea, actually. I will repeat, please don't play Rib. I think you used to draw the air, play Amulet Titan. Yeah, but that's the difference, right? Like, here, in the situation that we were, we had 4 draw steps, right? Like these were the good cards that we were looking for. This, I guess, would also be considered okay. So these were the cards that we were looking for, and any other card was just a blank. When you're playing Amulet in post-Cyberdeath games, 12 are the amount of Titans that you have access to, right? And then you just play your Titan, and there's nothing your opponent can do. You just take over immediately, right? Titan is a card that you can be very far behind, and Titan itself just comes down and immediately stabilizes, and you win the game from there. You don't have any cards that do that, right? If on that top deck war I draw a Titan, we immediately go from being behind to just like winning the game, and there's nothing our opponent can do. While here we just don't have cards that do that. Also, Titan would completely nullify my opponent's draw steps as well, right? Like the upgrade that my opponent drew would have been worthless. Like any lightning bolt that my opponent draws that doesn't actually kill me is also bad for them. While I have no way of doing that. So Titan, like the amount of card advantage that Titan produces is probably worth 6 cards of these, right? So it's just we have a lot of air. But we also have 12 draws towards a card that just wins the game actually on its own, like insta wins the game. And you also have access to Dryad, which would have stepped the bleeding there. And if I have a Valakut, it just turns into win condition by itself. So like I think it's kind of silly to say that because you play Titan that you get used to drawing air, because that's just not the case that often. So this deck just doesn't have that possibility. You're just hoping that card for card your cards do something. What's up, Olives Emporium? Welcome back to the Prime with your Prime sub for the 2nd month in a row. Back in the saddle, hell yeah. Anyway, interesting talk, interesting deck. I probably will never ever play this deck on stream anymore, ever again. But it was fun. Like this is the kind of decks that I will play once and then never come back to. And there are decks that I actually am not. That I will probably come back to at some point. Like Goblins, I might come back to at some point. The Omnath deck, I might come back to at some point. So, yeah. This is Death and Taxes. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a good time, even though we didn't do that much winning today. But yeah, thank you so much for checking out the VODs. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye.